Hello and welcome to the Superhero Hub. I'm Sam,
I'm Matt.
and today we're going to be reviewing,
The Flash.
the episode 18 or 17 of The Flash called Abra Kadabra. So, it starts off basically. There's a robbery at Stag Industries. Obviously, we haven't heard of Stag Industries from I think the second episode where Simon Stagg was killed. Remember that one?
Not really.
Oh, well, whatever. It's a callback to the second episode of the first season. So yeah, there's a guy, Abracadabra. The actor was from The Dark Knight. He's also been in Gotham recently.
Yeah, Dave the Small Chin, I think his name is.
Small Chin.
The Small Chin, yeah.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, basically, he's going around stealing stuff from different scientific facilities called Industry Star Labs. Most notably the Time Vault to get power source, because he's from the 64th century, so he's from the future, and I guess he's stuck in this time, harking back to Thawne, and yeah, so he's got abilities, but his abilities is kind of coming off magic, but really they're kind of nanotech things built into him. So yeah, and apparently because he's from the future, he knows who Savitar is. So also Gypsy's back again.
Blimey. A very angry Gypsy.
Yeah, well, I don't get a deal. You know what I mean? I guess she's kind of a love interest for Cisco, but it's like, you know what I mean? She's turned up, and then she's like, what? This is like the fourth episode. She's been kind of bumming around in. So yeah. So, what did you think?
I thought it was a pretty strong episode. To be honest, I thought Abracadabra was great. I thought his powers were cool.
Yeah.
I liked the way it worked. And to be honest, I think in this one episode, I don't want to trip into hyperbole, but I think they've kind of made a villain who I like more than Savitar. I wish this guy was the villain. He was way more interesting.
There was a lot of kind of special effects. Obviously, the cards disappearing, where he kind of flung the cards and vanished. On the jump ship,
absolutely. And I think a lot of their villain of the week kind of stuff they've done have been throwaway. The power was there's not much to him at all. But this guy, like I say, in the comic books, he comes back to be famous, which I guess you could say is kind of like an evil booster gold. But he's not going to save anyone. But the idea is still the same, that he can come back, and because he's got scientific crap which he can use to appear magical, he's going to be the best magician ever. And it came off and it worked, and I think they've in this episode they've showed that they can do a villain who doesn't have to be a speedster, that can be a challenge to Barry, which means I think that they've said next season he's not going to be a speedster. And I think his entire thing, more than his powers, what really led me towards him being a good villain was this. There was a thing towards the end that he said to Barry about how it's almost as if he gets to kill Iris too.
Yeah, because he's not helping by saying who Savitar is.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's kind of they kind of end up catching him, and the kind of whole thing is like there's a dilemma, like, oh, if you let me out, I'll tell you who Savitar is, and he kind of tempts Joe in there, and then as a kind of result, things pop off, and then Caitlin ends up being injured. So yeah, there's kind of, before we there was like a few kind of big moments in there. The kind of umming and ahhing about letting him go, and just about to say who Savitar is, and then Gypsy turns up and whatever. That was pretty batty, but we probably won't get the answers till next episode. I thought it was a good villain. I kind of liked the storyline. There was kind of some nice effects going on. But big kind of drops, because I was just about to look up the name there, but like he corners Barry, and then he kind of starts reeling off names, and it was like
the third one, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I didn't quite catch what it was.
Yeah, I was in the process of looking it up now. But yeah, he mentioned like another person, I guess. So the question is that who ends up being Savitar? Is that him subtly dropping who it is, or is that the kind of purple guy that we saw a few episodes ago who was kind of fronting with Gypsy?
I'm not sure, because he mentioned the first two names were the two reverse flashes, right? And then there was a third one, which I don't know who it was. But I'm still with the feeling that Savitar's someone on the team. I'm now leaning towards maybe it's a future Barry thing, or is it possibly Jay Garrick? I don't know, because he mentioned. The thing that throws me off it being one of those two was we saw some sort of brief flashback, didn't we, of like some bald dude becoming Savitar. So
yeah, but I think that was kind of like recounting the story, and obviously you kind of all kind of Jay Garrick knew is that it was just a guy, so it's just some random person. You couldn't put a face to the name because you don't know who it is. It's interesting because Abra Kadabra seemed to like he mentioned something about worshipping him as well. It's like the almighty Savitar or whatever. So obviously he was kind of into Savitar as well, which is interesting considering he's from the 64th century. I mean, even Thawne was like from what? Thawne's from the 30th or something like that.
Yeah, it's something close, relatively close. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, to leap like a good 1,000 years.
Probably, it's a long time. Don't ask me to do the math. Yeah. But the thing is, though, I mean, I guess
300.
With
400.
With Savitar being some sort of speed god or whatever he is, I suppose he can exist in any time, really, couldn't he? He can just travel to whenever he wants to. So
yeah, because like Jay Garrick mentioned as well, he said that before he destroys one Earth, he sends an envoy there to kind of facilitate him coming over there and destroying. So I mean,
like Galactus.
Yeah, because obviously with Dr. Alchemy, so I mean, I guess his destroyed worlds at some point or another. I mean, it's interesting as well that I guess this is the first episode where HR is kind of vanished for the whole episode and ends up like popping back right at the end. You had Julian and Caitlin kind of sort their stuff out and get their stuff together, and then obviously at the end
that was weird. I was sat there thinking like, this is normally it's not a post-credit thing, but it's like it's normally like the button at the end of the episode, right? They're normally pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, this is really dragging on. Where are they going with it? And now I guess they're doing Killer Frost. My thing, is this the wrong time to do Killer Frost? I mean, we are 3 years in, I suppose. It's time to get to it, but at this point, with the end of the season coming up, should we not be focusing on Savitar?
Well, it's interesting because because still on the board, they kind of reference back to the board on the stuff leading up. We're 2 months away from whatever happening, and obviously there's still Joe West gets honoured at Central City, and then there was like a story, I remember this from, I mean it weren't featured in the episode, but like there is a story about Killer Frost. So I mean, I guess that kind of had to happen. Whether they kind of clear it up quickly so it doesn't become a news story or whatever, who knows? But I mean, it was just a thing to kind of get her out. Let's injure her. Let's kind of whip the necklace off, and then kind of go from there.
I mean, so they've decided to go to the future. It's an interesting quote. I mean, I guess he won't mess too much with events now, because it seems even the writers themselves have kind of acknowledged this year that Barry's kind of gone too far, even, with in-jokes in the crossover episode with Supergirl and whatnot. So I don't think he's going to mess things up too badly, but I still don't really get what he's trying to achieve.
Well, it's interesting because really, like, the only kind of problem with him travelling in time is when he goes back in time and changes things. So generally there isn't really a problem if he kind of goes into the future, but is never, obviously you see things and stuff like that, because obviously that was the issue with him travelling to the future and accidentally seeing Iris die, you know what I mean? But really, generally, travelling to the kind of future's okay, because I mean, when you go back, anything leading up to it, you know what I mean? So I think it's pretty much safe him going to the future.
Probably. What he's actually looking to do there, I'm not too sure. Wally got his ass kicked in this episode. I thought that was quite funny, but other than that, am I forgetting something? Did he get back? He lost his mojo. Did he get it back?
Who, Wally?
Yeah.
Well, I guess so. They kind of did that in the singing episode, but really kind of didn't do much. He was just kind of standing there. I'm pretty sure he didn't really say more than like a couple of lines.
No, but he got kicked off a roof or something, didn't he? And then Cisco saved him.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
That was.
Yeah, so really, I mean, it was just unfortunate he kind of got hit or whatever. So.
Yeah, so and Cisco and what's his girlfriend's name?
Oh, Gypsy.
Gypsy, right. It's difficult to buy into that relationship because we just don't see her enough, and then when she shows up, she's just angry. You know what I mean? Like, if they want us to buy into this, they're gonna have to kind of commit to it, I think, and keep her around. But do you really need someone with the same powers as Cisco on a team? Then again, I suppose you could argue you got two Flashes.
No, I think that's pointless, kind of having her there.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I think they're better off kind of leaving her where she is. I mean, they kind of tried to add depth to her by kind of bringing up this whole, I had a dead
partner, yeah, and kind of boyfriend. But if it is I've always kind of been hesitant to buy into those kind of things like done on these shows. If we don't see it, it's just a personal thing maybe, but if we don't see it, I can't buy into it. I don't think. I'm pretty certain Julian's days are numbered.
Yeah,
he's gonna be gone. Tom Felton, I don't think he's gonna stick around for much longer, and he's still not even part of the main cast, and he's like a special appearance by. So his days are numbered. I don't think he's Savitar though.
No, I mean the third guy referenced after Thawne and Zoom is apparently called DeVoe.
Is that something I should know?
Well, apparently there's a character called Cliff DeVoe who's the thinker.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
No.
I mean, what that'd be. But I mean, yeah, he's kind of going to the future. I think the Flash is on a break now until that episode, so they kind of bring up the hype. I don't know whether it's on a break or not, but I think it is. I think it said it is. So yeah. So it should be interesting him going to the future. I mean, I've seen the promo for it, and he's talking to a long-haired kind of future version of himself. So I mean, I guess he'll find out who Savitar is, because I mean, he references as well. He finds out how to stop Savitar, but it's only after she dies. So I mean, he'll go to the future, find out how to stop Savitar, and then kind of come back and like do it before Iris dies, whatever way that's gonna be.
One thing I didn't quite buy into is when they had Abra Kadabra essentially pimp out Savitar as being Barry's greatest enemy. And it's like, you're giving this a bit too much lip service, because we all know the only way that's going to be the case is if Savitar killed Iris, and I just don't buy it. In the end, he'll save her, I think. And so this greatest enemy thing I don't really buy, especially when you got Eobard Thawne rocking it on another show, which we'll get to in a minute. But overall, I thought it was a strong episode. Of what Abra Kadabra was cool. I think I should bring him back. I guess we're going to get to the Caitlin thing next week, though. I don't know. Are we going to follow Barry in the future and that at the same time? I don't know, really.
No, I think it would be like solid kind of follow that kind of thread. I mean, forget about Caitlin Snow for a minute. So yeah, let's talk numbers.
I'm gonna say 7.5. I think it's a strong show. I thought it was fun.
I'll give it an 8.
Cool.
So yeah, that is our review of episode 18 of The Flash. So I'm Sam.
I'm Matt.
And we'll see you in the next episode.